about Ragdoll glitch and take some time to share pretty much everything that I know about it. If you are unfamiliar with Ragdoll glitch, in Breath of the Wild, when you shield jump and unequip your shield before the initial shield jump animation finishes, you'll have a glitch where when you try to make Link Ragdoll again, if you've moved away from the spot where you initially unequipped the shield, he will not ragdoll, and it's been an issue in speedruns for pretty much ever since the beginning. Because even towards the beginning of the game, we were doing Stasis Launches, which requires Link to ragdoll, and even now, about 7 years later, there's still a lot. We still don't know internally what's happening that causes the glitch, but we have been able to observe some of its effects, and I wanted to take some time to share what I know today. So kind of the goal at the end of this will be, by the way, I'm recording this in Premiere, my video editor, so I'll be jumping around, going frame by frame and such as needed. But anyway, I uploaded this clip around May of last year where I found a setup to do Wind Bomb with Ragdoll glitch active that you normally wouldn't be able to. So by the end of this, I'm hoping that with all the information, it took me a little bit of figuring this out step by step and getting to know how the glitch works to figure out how to make this Wind Bomb work. So I'm hoping by the end of this that you'll also be able to understand how I was able to get to this conclusion. But anyway, I have this broken into several sections. So first, we're going to kind of line out the area which you can Wind Bomb inside. So when the glitch is active, it's not a simple thing of oh, if the glitch is active, you can't ragdoll at all. There's actually a range inside of it where ragdoll is still possible. So I'm going to go through this section here and kind of show you what that range is, and then we'll kind of talk about how it gets more intense as you get further away from where you unequip shield. So I'm going to speed up through this a little bit. These first clips are a little bit long, but this is me just trying to get a static distance away by doing weapon swing and then forward hopping. So this one, I did 7. 7 forward hops away is still enough to where you can ragdoll. This one, I did 8. And 8 is just outside the range where you're able to ragdoll. So for this clip here, let me go back as I was talking. You go 2 side hops to either the left or right, you'll still be within range. But if you go 3, you'll be outside of it. So this one, just 1 back hop is enough to be outside of the range. But you'll notice that if you do this while grounded, the effect is actually a little bit different. So for all of these so far, I've been doing jumps to spawn a bomb and then exploding it before I touch ground. But if you do this grounded, then you'll notice it's different from exploding it midair. So that's another small thing about it that's different. It has a different effect based on whether you're in midair or touching ground. And for these next 2 clips, I think this was... Yeah, so this was a misconception I've shared over the years, unfortunately, but there was one point I believed that having shield unequipped lets the range stay larger than having it equipped. But it turns out all this time it was just the difference between being midair and grounded. So you'll see between these 2 clips This one I leave shield unequipped. Hop forward twice. And my ragdoll doesn't work. This time I re-equip it, and same thing. So it's just a matter of being grounded versus ungrounded. That has been the issue the whole time. So for this one, we're going to see like a little bit more of the shape. We've seen how far you can go to the left or right, how far forward and backward you can go. So now we're going to see like more in a diagonal direction. So I've unequipped shield, hopped once to the right, and then forward twice, and it still works. But in this clip, you'll see I'll unequip shield once to the right, and then a third time is too far. So it's kind of like an ovular shape. You can't really go back very far at all. You can go decently far forward and a little bit to the left and right. But once you start going diagonally, that's when you're going to start running into issues pretty quickly. So here I've dropped an item on the ground, and this is just to sort of help visualize the space that you have. So this is 3 to the left, which would be out of range. And then this is 7. So you see you have a good bit of distance for how far your wind bombs can work when you do when you set up this glitch. That also reminds me, I should also explain in the speedrun community we also have a term called Ragdoll Fix, and they're essentially the same thing, or they are the exact same thing. So if you hear somebody say they're doing Ragdoll Fix, what they're doing is they're just setting Ragdoll Glitch in the spot where they're going to wind bomb, because every time you do this shield unequip while you're mid shield surf, it will reset the position where it'll reset like this safety zone that I've just shown you. So yeah, Ragdoll Glitch, Ragdoll Fix, same thing. It's just glitch is more of like the negative term where it's like, oh, we don't want this. This is something we need to get rid of. And then Ragdoll Fix is like, okay, we're going to just do this glitch again, but in a spot where we can use it to allow us to win bomb. And this is an example using the save state cheat code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down here and I'm going to unequip shield to give myself the glitch and then use the code to teleport back up here. And then I'm going to ragdoll. And you'll see that when I do this, I'm still able to ragdoll just fine. So I don't know if this glitch is purely like horizontal, if it doesn't take vertical distance into account. Because I've tested this in other places and was still able to ragdoll fairly high from where I set it. So it seems like either the oval goes very high or it just does not take vertical separation into account at all. So for this next section, we're going to be looking at some stasis launches. This first one here is just a completely normal stasis launch. I don't have Ragdoll Glitch active at all. And this animation that you just saw when he gets hit is going to be the same every single time you do a stasis launch. Unless the object hits you for more than like a frame or two, this is always what it's going to look like. But with the Ragdoll Glitch active, things get a little bit different. So in this clip, I'm trying to set Ragdoll Glitch where I have about the same spot where I'm going to be hit. So back up here after setting the glitch, move the box back. And you'll see here when I get hit. First I'm going to go forward from forward hopping, so I'm going to be a little bit closer to where I set the glitch. And then when the box hits me, it's also going to push me closer to it. So here, I probably set the glitch right about here, but I'm fairly close to where I started it. So pay attention to how fast Link is spinning. You'll notice the animation was different there, but he also has a good bit more spin than he had in the previous clip. So this is with getting hit in nearly the same spot where I set up the glitch. So in this next clip, what we're going to see, I'm going to set Ragdoll Glitch. Wait, did I go back far enough? Yeah, here we go. I set Ragdoll Glitch all the way back here. So we're going a decent bit forward, and we're going to get hit from this position. And you'll see the spin looks a lot more violent on this one. And that's because, at least from how I understand it, there are other factors to this, but the most significant one for this clip is the distance from how far you set Ragdoll Glitch. So I set it back here, further down than you can see in the clip. And now that I'm further forward, he's further away from that spot where he set up the glitch, and so his spin is even more intense. And this is ultimately what causes the issues with Ragdoll Glitch. The further you get away from the safe zone that we mapped out earlier, the more intense the spin becomes, and it doesn't take very long before it becomes so intense that your ragdoll just does not work normally anymore. So for my next set of clips, I'm going to show this spin in a little more detail. So what I'm doing here is setting up a shock trap. So I have an electric greatsword here that I'm going to drop along with a metal weapon, and I can use that to shock myself and show a little bit different way, show a little bit of a different effect that you can see with this specific method when you have Ragdoll Glitch.
It is my pleasure.
So I'm gonna run fairly far away from it, set up Ragdoll Glitch, and then here I show the distance away from it that I was. And you'll see here, I'm going to just land on solid ground. And you'll see that when that happens, we don't really get anything helpful from it. He just kind of falls to the ground, and then since he can't ragdoll, he just immediately gets back up. But now we're going to do the same thing in shallow water. And for whatever reason, shallow water lets us get a really good look at the spin that's happening. Not really sure for what specific reason that is, but I've set up Ragdoll Glitch in this clip. I think I didn't have it in the beginning. Yeah, I accidentally cut it out. But what I'm going to do here, just jump in the water, and you can see that when you have Ragdoll Glitch active, you will spin very fast if you're in shallow water. And this is what I assume the game is doing when you get far enough away from the safe area of Ragdoll Glitch, is the game is trying to spin Link at this very incredible speed, and it just keeps him from being able to ragdoll normally at all. But there is a little bit of a difference based on a couple of different factors. So for this one, you're going to see I'm facing directly north, and I'm going to set up Ragdoll Glitch there. And then I'm going to use this box to face directly south. So when I do that, and then go to do the same thing, jump in the water, you'll see the spin is different now. So instead of going extremely fast, he's going very slow. And you can see the same effect regardless of it being north or south. So in this one, I'm facing south, and I'm going to set up Ragdoll Glitch, and I'll use the box to face to north. And you'll see the same effect here. And jump in, barely any spin at all. This also applies to east and west. So here's an example. I started facing west, set up Ragdoll glitch, and now I'm facing east. Barely any spin. This does change a little bit, strangely, if you're facing a ordinal direction. So here I'm setting up Ragdoll glitch while facing northeast. And then I'm going to face southwest. And you'll see when I get shocked here that it's still not a super fast spin, but it does change the properties a little bit. So I am spinning a little bit faster than I would be if I were facing a cardinal direction. But it's still a much slower spin than if you're just facing the same direction the whole time. So here I'm facing southwest, set up Ragdoll glitch, and then you'll see this spin also very fast. So the main takeaway here is that there's some discrepancy between the direction you're facing when you set up Ragdoll glitch and then the direction you're facing when you take damage. This section, next section here is a little bit of a side note compared to the rest of this, but I just wanted to point out that when you initiate a shield surf, it carries your momentum. So you'll see in this first clip, I'm going to bring out I'm going to do a weapon throw and then turn a little bit to the right. And you'll see that when I shield surf, it carries a little bit of that turning speed into the shield surf. So here's the first one. So you can see when I start to shield surf, I keep moving. And then with the second clip, I'm going to move a good bit faster, and you'll be able to see that reflected in the shield surf as well. For this third clip, I'm going to just immediately weapon throw, which is trying to pivot Link towards the direction that the camera is pointing. And then I'm going to shield surf, which will make him spin even faster. This same property can also be seen when using bows, and it even seems to be amplified by bullet time. So I'll go ahead and show that here. This one is just barely turning to the right, and I'm still able to get that speed transferred into the shield surf. And then this one is me turning to the right fairly fast, and you'll see the speed gets amplified even more. This one is probably a lesser example, but I just wanted a different way of showing how shields will carry momentum. So I've cut out the quick menus here just to make this a little smoother, and I'll go by this frame by frame after. But this is what it looks like when you shield surf while Link is skewed away from a ledge. So this is what that looks like. So going frame by frame, I land on the slope here and jump. Link starts tilting towards this direction. I unequip the shield, and then you'll see that Link starts pivoting this way. I don't know if the direction of the momentum that it carries is like, not really sure how to explain this. I don't know if it gets it from like the previous frame or if it's like 2 frames behind or something. But you'll see here, you would think he shield surfs in kind of an arc downward. But when I shield surf here, he instead does a backflip. So yeah, like I mentioned, this isn't the best example, but it does show how when you initiate a shield surf, it does carry momentum. And so with that in mind, we also have the same idea with doing a wind bomb. If you shield surf immediately after, or as soon as you're able to out of a wind bomb, you'll notice that Link will do the same kind of turning. a bit hard to see in this clip. You can mostly see it if you look at like the tip of the sword. But you'll notice that if you shield surf out of a wind bomb, this happens. So this is a fairly weak one. Second one is a little bit faster. And then this one had a fairly fast spin. So what this implies to me is that while Link is ragdolling, there is some kind of spinning force happening that we just can't see reflected in his character model. So that doesn't really have anything much to do with Ragdoll Glitch, but I thought this would be a good time to just kind of share the concept, because I think it is very similar to what is happening in Ragdoll Glitch. So I have a couple more sections here. This one is going to be doing just some normal circle first and then square wind bombs. So I show an example here where, let's see, yeah, I set up Ragdoll Glitch at the very beginning. So right now I'm out of the range where I would normally be able to wind bomb. But this is possible if you use some setups that give you more speed and less height. So in this one, I set up Ragdoll Glitch, and then the wind bomb I do is just one that immediately detonates the square, or the circle rather. And this kind of standard setup is one that you do still get a lot of height with it, but it's not specifically intended for height. So anything like this one or most turn wind bombs, you would be fine. Even if you had Ragdoll Glitch active. But for this one, I do a setup where I mainly want to get height, and I do that by delaying how soon I spawn the square bomb. And you'll see that with Ragdoll Glitch active, I am not able to do this wind bomb just because of the nature of it being weaker. Generally, a wind bomb that is weaker or one that gives you more height and less speed is just going to fail with Ragdoll Glitch active. And you'll see, I have other examples of this earlier in the video too, but you'll see when he makes contact with the bomb, he is trying to spin in a direction, so that makes me think even more that this very rapid spin is what causes wind bombs to fail. But here you'll see I set up the glitch, and then here I set it up again before I do the same setup where I delay spawning the square bomb, and it's able to work successfully. However, there is one type of wind bomb which I have at the clip at the beginning, where if you spawn square first and then spawn a circle bomb and have the square pretty low to the ground, as I can't really see it that great here, but it's at the very bottom of the screen. If the square is very low to the ground and then you spawn circle bomb, this will usually give you a very low angle and is also just a very weak wind bomb in general, probably one of the weaker setups that we have. But you'll see Link turn to the right here, even though I had set up Ragdoll Glitch here, it still isn't able to work. But combining what I learned regarding the spin and how it changes based on the direction you face, this is what I figured out you could do. So instead of setting Ragdoll Glitch in the same direction as I'm wind bombing, I want to face away, set up Ragdoll Glitch, and then we're going to do the same wind bomb that just failed, except this time it works. And this is the clip I originally showed. when I made this original discovery. So I set up Ragdoll glitch in here just to be sure. And then set it up here, facing the same direction, and showed that it doesn't work. And then another clip. Where I do the same thing, except this time I face Link away. And then the setup works. And then I showed them side by side here, so you could just see the timings. There are some slight differences. I spawned the square a couple frames earlier in the left clip, but the setups are fairly the same. And this wind bomb is actually a stronger variant of the one I did in my other clip, so that kind of shows you the potential that this has. But yeah, Ragdoll glitch has always been kind of a mysterious and weird sort of glitch that we've had to deal with. And I didn't really have all of the information or all of the stuff I know about it in one place, so I hope this will serve as a decent resource for anyone interested in learning more about the glitch and kind of understanding what it does. Yeah, thanks everybody.